Du lytter til podcasten AI Mennesker.
Fremtid, rummet og ny teknologi. En vild snak, bare fordi. Velkommen til en podcast, der kan rumme det hele. Min gæst er svensk, men taler amerikan, som Sydney Lee ville sige. Let's do it, man. Det bliver en crazy snak, så hold fast. Nytter ikke noget at tage det i hast. Velkommen til AI Mennesker. Det bliver endnu en basker. Lad os bare komme i gang. Det sætter noget af en klang.
Ja, velkommen til podcasten, som ingen andre. Slap lige af. Slap lige af for en setting, vi bliver sat i. Velkommen til AI Mennesker. Jeg hedder David Gulager, og det her er uomtvisteligt en storladen omgang af selvsmagende intro. Og så må det også være nogle gange. Og i hvert fald, når man beder, i det her tilfælde har jeg bedt ChatGPT, hjælp mig lige, hvis jeg skal lave en god intro til det her afsnit, som, hvor man siger, det er det AI-menneske. Denne omgang er en mand, der er tidligere NASA-chef. Han er nu teknologidirektørchef hos AWS. Og han er en mand, der kigger ind i fremtidens teknologier og ved et og andet om, hvad der kommer til at ske i den storladende fremtid, og ikke mindst, om vi måske er alene i rummet eller ej. Så vi skal have noget, der ligesom kan rumme alt det. Og ChatGPT kommer tilbage og siger, men den har jeg der. Jeg har det fuldstændig. Du skal bare holde fast her. Det skulle enten være Vangelis Blade Runner, det kan være Daft Punk, det havde vi jo sidste gang, eller, og så læste jeg ikke længere, Hans Zimmer, Interstellar, Inception. Stop, blive en halv. Den er købt, den tager jeg. Ja tak. At der så, nu har jeg prøvet, jeg til PT er jeg på 10-11 forskellige sange. Den holder fast i sådan Stig Rossen, eller også bliver det noget kvindeligt pendant til. Så der kommer ikke helt det der organ, det der kirkeorgan, som jeg gerne vil have. Men det er jo måske også lige meget. Vi skal ikke læne os op med noget, der allerede findes i forvejen. Det skal bare ramme en stil, ramme en tone, og det gør vi så her. Lang historie kort. Hans Zimmer intro med Stig Rossens stemme. Og så vil vi stå skudt i gang. Fordi, som jeg lige sagde før her, så har vi altså en gæst, han hedder Tom Soderstrom, som er teknologidirektør i AWS, som altså er verdens største cloud-computer. Han er tidligere NASA, kan man sige, hvad var det han var? Han var Innovation Officer hos NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Det vil sige, at han arbejdede med deres kæmpestore jetmotorer og lavede en masse af det. Han er en meget, meget spændende fyr, som ved en masse ting og har meget, kan man sige, finger på pulsen, i hvert fald et vildt, kan man kigge ind i, hvad der kommer til at ske af muligheder og nye tendenser, som man måske skal hive fat i. Så jeg synes, det blev en rigtig, rigtig spændende snak. Igen på AWS Summit i Stockholm, hvor altså jeg lige havde den her som den sidste. Jeg synes, det blev spændende. Den kører på amerikansk eller engelsk, selvom Tom er svensker. så har han boet så mange år i USA, at jeg tror faktisk, at jeg kan ikke svensk sådan rigtigt. Så det blev bare det i stedet for. Det må det du ligesom har at arbejde med. Men virkelig, virkelig spændende, og jeg skal faktisk ikke bruge meget mere af vores tid her til at sætte i gang. Så jeg synes sådan set bare, at vi skal i gang med denne omgang af AI-mennesker. Velkommen til den storladende omgang. And you're ready? Yeah, perfect. Tom, thank you for your time and in your busy schedule here and AWS Summit. Could you just, for my listeners and audience, could you tell me who you are, Tom Soderstrom? Who is Tom?
Sure. I grew up in Sweden until I was 19, and then moved to the United States for one winter. And that lasted 40 years so far. I was a swimmer, and we did very well. We won the American Nationals. So I was invited back and then I fell in love and stayed. So I'm now Swedish and American, and I've been in the U.S. for 40 years at this point.
You can't really hear your Swedish accent. That's gone.
It's my kids always tease me to say words that I pronounce wrong. But I also was NASA's first chief technology officer.
Yeah.
So I was on the bleeding edge of introducing new technologies. And when you're on the bleeding edge, you bleed. So lots of experiences. In the end, it went very well. Cloud computing was one of the trends that we saw that were interesting.
Yeah.
And the purpose was not technology. The purpose was the mission of NASA. Can we detect life out there? Where did the universe come from? If an asteroid was coming towards us, could we redirect it? Things like that.
That's pretty big.
And then having IT to help give the smart people, the scientists and engineers, and IT people, of course, the tools they needed, the latest tools. So that was my background. And now cloud was one of those. So I led the transformation to cloud for Jet Propulsion Laboratory and NASA, and influenced the U.S. government to go there because I was an insider. And I think that's really key about technologies. It's been a fun journey. 5 years ago, I joined AWS, so I'm now what's called an enterprise strategist. So I meet with executives from across the world and all industries, commercial and public sector. And it's fascinating. So many similar challenges and opportunities.
What are the similarities?
The similarities this is going to sound a little strange. If I ask you in any industry, are you in a regulated industry? Some people will say yes if they're in finance or banking. Some people will say no if they're manufacturing or something. In fact, they're all regulated. Compliance is a really big deal. If you are not compliant, whether it's external compliance or internal compliance, you can't go live. So you have to think about your business as you adopt these new technologies, because the technologies are not the important thing. The fact that they get used to solve business problems is the important thing. So the cloud journey has been very interesting, and it's about to be repeated with another technology.
And that's AI?
Yeah. I was going to see if you knew.
Yeah.
Generative AI
Yeah.
is a game changer.
But how much did you see that, before? If you are on the bleeding edge of technology, you may have seen or heard or tried something about this. Did you see that before we all,
I saw it, machine learning, certainly. So part of we think of creating centers of excellence, and centers of excellence in big companies is the wrong thing to do. The right thing is to create a center of engagement where you take this new technology and solve business problems in all areas. And that's the similarity I see in all companies now. Any company that was successful, it was a rebel at the time, then it grew, and now it's been around for a long time, has a hard time innovating. There are silos, and there is risk aversion, and it's just difficult to move fast. And that's technologies that are not adopted are useless. So it's about humans adopting the new technologies to solve business problems. And that's a similarity I see. So we've come up with what we call a culture of experimentation, where you can experiment your way towards what works and it becomes a prioritization mechanism. And so you experiment with many things very inexpensively, very quickly, using new technologies with a business person, an IT person, and a cybersecurity person. And you create a demo. And then if it solves a business problem, you prioritize that. If it doesn't, you don't prioritize it. So it becomes this very active prioritization mechanism that's not on paper, but it's actually hands-on. And that's how you adopt new technologies.
And we just saw example Lovable on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about they had maybe made 800 new companies in a year or something like that. And you can experiment with the AI. Is that something we will see change from something that took time to something that's as you say were more people to, and now we can just sit in our bedroom and made a whole company, maybe 1 billion company that Sam Altman talked about, this one man a unicorn.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something we're going to see in a matter of years or something like that?
Because I used to do startups as well, and it's a fascinating journey for it. Any of your listeners who've done a startup, it's 110% passion, and you work all the time, but you learn a lot. So I think it'd be interesting what startups can learn from enterprises and what enterprises can learn from startups, and it's quite a lot. So I think you're going to see a lot more companies, and I think generative AI is going to help create a lot of businesses. The challenge is the barrier to entry is pretty low. So that means everybody can try it.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be very nimble, and you'll always have competitors biting at your heels.
But we're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
No, because I saw a report telling about Nordics and the gains in AI, and the Danes are, I think it's at AI adoption of 40% or something like that. And we have a big potential to use it much more than we are today. But if everyone can use it, like you say, a low entry barrier, but we still need someone to get the grasp on AI. Are there some low-hanging fruits to use right now and then gain further on?
I think so. And the only limitation on generative AI is lack of imagination. So all of a sudden, the big change is with generative AI, you can now involve the entire company, not just the techies. Then with Lovable, everybody becomes a programmer, if you will, without having to program. It's very different. And I think initially it's going to be fantastic for solving especially internal business problems that are buggy and they take time away from solving external problems. And then companies will build companies on using Lovable, which is running on AWS. So your risk is very low. It's very fast to try something. But you do have some very strong Danish companies, some that I really admire. One of them is Aller Media, translation to many different languages. They now translate in 2% of the time it used to take.
Okay, I didn't do that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And Danske Bank, at scale, I think they migrated 16,000 servers and 1,000 applications.
Okay.
It's big, and it's very difficult to do. Kukla, changing the way data is structured so that especially generative AI can make it. And lots of those. So I think even if the data says that only 40% are using generative AI in Denmark, I think you're going to see something really interesting and fun.
And I guess the next year will be, a lot of companies will gain into or lean into AI, and we'll see a big uptick in the generative AI in the companies, I guess.
And the other point I wanted to, if we look at the demographics, we're all aging. Well, not all of us, but certainly some of us. And so you have Novo Nordisk, who's doing some really amazing work.
Yeah, but at the moment they're going down because of the American market.
It will change. I mean, that if you have a good idea, it'll come back, I think. And sometimes a downturn is actually a good thing because it focuses you on what's important. So I think there's a lot of interesting things happening. But was some of the technologies that are coming now, you were asking? I see 4 big business trends, or technology trends, and 4 business trends. The technology big ones are cloud and generative AI. They belong together.
In what way?
You really can't do generative AI without cloud, because you need all that scale. You need all that compute power.
Yeah.
You need all the data. So the second one is the growth of data. It's for that reason, but for other reasons too, which is the third one, which is the growth of productive at the edge, or Internet of Things will finally really pay dividends.
We talked about that for a long time.
I know, it's coming
but
now.
Now it's coming.
And
Okay.
then the fourth one is digital twins.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Imagine that you are that you have a security camera in an airport that is looking for suspected terrorists. When it sees a suspected terrorist, it sends data into the cloud. And then all the airports are doing that. All of a sudden, you have a digital twin. Now, from that digital twin, you can now ask questions. Where is the most likely attack, etc. And you can also perfect the algorithm so that you send it out to those other digital cameras. So now you have this fantastic opportunity of asking, what if? So now you use synthetic data and you can use generative AI to ask questions. Where is the most likely place to have a terrorist attack? And then you can now start simulating what happens if all of a sudden 100 terrorists comes into one airport, what happens? And then you have generative AI that is, one is saying, here's the problem. The other one is saying, here's how I solve it. And so my father always used to say, measure twice, cut once. Now you can measure 100,000 times and deploy once. So those are the big technologies that we see. Now, quantum computing, virtual reality,
Yeah.
and cryptocurrency, those are 3 that are also coming back. They were on the...
They're coming back.
Yeah.
They were away for...
they were sleeping.
Yeah, crypto were, but...
No, but they were not really sleeping. They were sleeping in the public's mind because all we talked about was generative AI. But they're coming back, and they're doing very, very well.
These things are some technology we heard about for a long time, as you say, as well as AI. We heard about AI for a long time, and then suddenly it was just there on our computer and our phones.
Yeah.
Which of these technologies do you yourself see as the biggest potential right now in the next, say, 4 or 5 years?
So I think I may repeat myself, but a technology that's not adopted is useless. So it's all about the humans saying that this is an interesting technology that solves a business problem. The next hype that you'll hear a lot about, and you're probably already hearing it, is agents. So agentic AI. And it's worthy of being a hype, because what happens is think of a person doing something on your behalf. Now you have a program doing it. And many companies have programs or agents doing this. And all of a sudden, you can rewire your entire enterprise without being a programmer. And you can have the business executives do this because everything becomes automated. And will it cost people jobs? We don't think so. We think it'll make people more productive. I had a really interesting discussion with a lot of hiring managers. And I put out a blog on LinkedIn where I said, Company A, recruiter, sorry, candidate, we realized you use generative AI, so you're disqualified. Company B, recruiter, we realized you use generative AI. Tell us what specifically you did and how you will be 2 times to 5 times more productive. Which one will win in the long run? Company B. And the LinkedIn response was overwhelming. That's how we should do it. Yet many recruiters disqualify candidates if they use generative AI. So we have to start going. When we have a technology problem, or at least people my age, we went to teenagers and said, teenagers, how do you fix that? Leaders have to become technology teenagers and do hands-on. And it's quite easy to do with generative AI. Whatever your favorite large language model is. By the way, do you know which one is the best?
At the moment?
Yeah.
A generative AI model?
Mhm.
I guess Anthropic?
No,
I don't know.
the business model.
Okay.
It's a play on words, but it really
okay.
is. We don't know which one is going to be the best, but they are out competing each other, and we can all try it. But it has to be there to solve a business problem.
But again, as you said, you said some new technology will emerge, and we'll see that and we'll use that. Where's the business model in like, say, quantum computing and stuff like that? Are there other places we have to work to see if we're going to adopt it, we're going to see the business plan quite early?
Yeah, I think we talk about a culture of experimentation.
Yeah.
Experiment your way to solve a business problem, and fast, really fast. And if it works, great, double down. If it doesn't, park it. And so it becomes a prioritization mechanism to see which business problems is going to help our business grow. And then the technology will follow. So we recommend don't lead with the technology, lead with the business problem you're solving. And then it becomes very obvious. We did virtual and augmented reality a lot, and at NASA and other companies. And after a while, you realize it's not where the avatars party, because we have video conferencing for that. It's where it's very difficult or dangerous to send humans. That's where augmented and virtual reality takes off. Or for training. You can actually go inside a molecule and see where the electrons are. That type of, operations.
Surgery or something.
Surgery, thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's intriguing.
Yeah.
But I think it's never been a better time to be in IT and to do a startup. And I think you're going to see a lot of those from Denmark, and I'm seeing them here in Stockholm. They're starting to, you get the feeling, you get the vibe.
And as you said in the beginning, the most companies right now are into AI, and if you're not into AI, maybe you should be into AI, because that's the thing right now. But then you want to be a company that's going to last for 100 years or something like that, and you always want to be on the edge of the next technology. And you said like 5 new emerging tech that you should be aware of. But again, that's expensive and it's difficult to have a big, broad spectrum. Is there any one of these you should focus more on, or do you have any idea or tips to how you should, trend spotting?
Yeah, super point. I think so. At NASA, I served as our internal our internal futurist. But it was not about what is the best technologies coming. It's what are the technologies coming and which one will be best for us. So you become very selfish. And from all these technologies that I mentioned, if you're a transportation company, it would be Internet of Things for predictive maintenance. In Australia, we have trucks and trains that are completely self-driving, huge distances. And so I think the Nordics are absolutely the best in the world at sustainability. Government cares, people care, there is budget, there is a reason. So could you export those expertise to the rest of the world? We sure need it. So looking at where you have skills and desire. So I would say Internet of Things, because it applies everywhere. Predictive maintenance. It's much cheaper to fix something when a truck or a train or a car is in the garage or depot. I'll give you an example of that, where it ties into kind of the whole thing. Tesla. Every Tesla has a digital twin. Why does that matter? Because you have to every so often do a recall of a car. That's very expensive. You have to take it in and fix it. Well, there are 2 types of recalls. Most of them are now a software update. They know what's going wrong because they're looking at all of the cars as a digital twin, and at scale, they can predict what's going to happen and just fix it with an update, even without an official recall. So it's very rare that you have to take a Tesla in to be fixed somewhere. If it really is a hardware problem, they come to you and fix it. So it's completely turned the model upside down. So I think Internet of Things combined with digital twins is a fantastic business opportunity. And if your listeners are technical, the people who we should all be really trying to protect and keep, the data officers, people who deal with data and understand it, network officers or network people who understand it. So network is becoming more and more complicated and more important.
Why is it that important? I talked to your colleague as well about, data is, again, I know where you at the moment, and that's pretty much data. But it seems, like data is the one thing we have to focus on if we want to succeed in, as you say, there's a low entry model right now in AI, but if you want to really succeed with this, you have to focus on the data as well. And now you're saying as well, be a data scientist or something like that.
Because with generative AI, which is the buzzword, but agentic AI and everything that's coming, data is, that's the lifeblood of a company now. Well, of course, the people are. But data, because if you have bad data, you're going to get bad results. At the same time, you cannot say, yes, boss, I will give you a great data strategy in 4 years. Give me $20 million and I'm off and running. Because in 4 years, you won't be around. I talk to a lot of executives, and their number one priority is speed. Speed to market, speed to compliance, speed to skills. So data is, it's coming so fast. If you do analogy, imagine data being on a highway. So you have a car driving in one direction, a car driving in another. That was data like 5 years ago. Today, it's 100 lanes full of cars in each direction, times 100 of those. It's so much data. So now, if you are in IT, your challenge is going to be, what do you store? How do you store it? How do you analyze it? What do you do? What databases do you do? And what we're seeing is choice matters. Choice of what makes the most sense. And so AWS is focused on choice. So we give choice at all the way up from the chip to the database to the large language models. Even within quantum computing, or bracket, you have a choice of which model to use, because they're all different. And then, of course, you have choice of applications. You can just use it. So I think if a listener is listening to this saying, what should I do next? Become a technology teenager. Do hands-on. Try it. Ask questions about a business problem. So I mentioned I did the futures, right? And I spent months coming up with what they are and really studied it. Then I asked, in this case, Claude, we tried them all, and said, what are the key trends that are coming for the past 5 years and the next 5 years? And what should a leader do? In 30 seconds, it gave me an answer. Now, that answer is a great first draft. The human will still need to take that and personalize it and think it through. But all of a sudden, you have information at your fingertips that you never had before. So start playing with it. Start seeing what can happen and ask questions. But don't submit what came from generative AI as your final answer.
But you seem like it's quite a bright future in your minds.
It is.
We're looking forward to it. There's a lot of people thinking the opposite.
Yep.
AI is going to change the whole thing, and we do not know anything because AI will know it all. And if you put that into quantum computing, Internet of Things, self-driving cars, stuff like that, how bright a future is it? How can this help us as a human being? Be more human.
So, and I think you actually answered it, which is if AI is in all of these things, that is the answer. AI is going to be in in the network equipment, in the refrigerators. I know that Electrolux is working on putting AI in the device itself. Do you really need to wash at 60 degrees? Could you wash at 40 degrees? And so you can now gamify that. And so you can actually teach people by using it to save money, which helps the environment. So I think my positive outlook is coming from, I think people will adopt this if the incentives are right. So in that particular example, the incentives is I save money on my energy cost. And so therefore I will do it. So I think it's up to the companies to figure out what is the right approach here. And by the way, that was an Internet of Things example. So it's. I think if there was one thing I would do if I was king for a day, I would rename AI from artificial intelligence to IA, intelligent assistance. It really is helping the humans become faster, learn more, be more sustainable, because we're living longer.
Yeah.
We used to live 1900, average age was 47. Year 2000, it was 77. Year 2100, I have no idea. But we are having implants. We have, soon the blind can see, the deaf can hear. And what's going to manage it all? AI for us. So personal. It's not just the new technology thing. It's much bigger than that.
If you were still in NASA, work there, and you saw this development, it's going so fast at the moment. Seems like this time is the right time to be tech alive.
Yeah, exactly.
If you can say. Could you see maybe a possibility to, if it's going so fast and quantum computers coming maybe next year, maybe I guess more, and the HEI stuff like that, we could be interplanetary or meet a new dimension, something far-fetched science fiction. But again, AI was science fiction,
exactly
20 years ago or something like that.
I think it's, I used to put up the big questions. That's how you cut through all the internal bureaucracy. It says, why are we in business? NASA was in business to answer, is there life out there?
It's quite big question to ask.
Right now, a spacecraft is going to Europa, moon of Jupiter, to see what it looks like. Maybe one day send a lander. They can drill itself into the ice lakes and detect life, if there is life. So all of these technologies are really helping. And I think, not just because I work for AWS, but it is because I think the cloud is where we will work, that I work for AWS, because we can solve these other problems. It just makes everything into a much easier experiment, where you don't have to buy a bunch of computers. And I used to do that. I did startups where I bought computers and office space, and don't have to do that anymore. You just try out your idea. So to answer your question, this mission that is going to Europa is using cloud.
Yeah.
And saving money, being able to you can change your mind much easier. And so I think we will, we use quantum computing to reschedule the big 70-meter antennas because we wanted to see if we could. So experimenting with all these new technologies to see what makes sense is the answer. And it's all going to be driven by creativity from the humans.
And just the last question is, again, it's a far-fetched question, but you ask it yourself. Are there any life out there, do you think?
When I started, I didn't think so, but I do now. I think when you look at Drake's equation and you look at just the possibilities of how huge the universe is, bigger. Every time we think we know, we're wrong.
So it's impossible there's not life out there.
Yeah, the problem is, do they kill themselves off before they come and visit us?
That's another podcast, another question of half an hour. Thank you for your time,
Thank you for asking.
Yeah,
this is great.
Thanks. Og dig, kære lytter, tusind tak, for du lytter med her. Vi lyttes ved igen i næste uge på Genlyt.